At the top of the page, Hinei Matov Umanayim. Hinei Matov Umanayim. Sheverachim kam yachad. Hinei Matov Umanayim. Sheverachim kam yachad. Hinei Matov Umanayim. Shabbat Shalom. It is always wonderful to be able to gather on Shabbat. Always wonderful to have a little taste of warmer weather and a little bit of comfort on Shabbat. It's wonderful to be able to gather together in celebration, gather together in support. It's just wonderful to be able to have Shabbat. And I always find one of the best ways for me to enter into Shabbat is to know who I'm entering in with. And so I invite you to turn to someone that you're near, whether you know them or don't know them, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, to type a little Shabbat Shalom. Maybe if you don't know them, you can say your name. It's all good. To help us really lean into this joy, this sweetness, this light of Shabbat, I'd like to invite Scott, one of our birthday boys, to help us with our blessings. You can find the blessings on page 2 and page 5, or in the larger volumes on page 120 and 123. Nu melech haolam, b'sher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. With the trick Shabbat candles. There we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. So Scott, before you, I turned off the wrong microphone. Before you run away, you have been celebrating your birthday in different ways for a couple weeks now. You honored us with a Torah reading in honor of your birthday-ish, in honor of the anniversary of your bar mitzvah-ish. You have been celebrating with your wife and your daughters in different ways. You have been taking this moment and finding opportunities to raise this moment up. And I want to thank you for including us in helping to acknowledge moments. It can be easy to have, a birthday that happens during the winter, during the cold and dark times, to say, I'll celebrate when we can get people together or something like that. But to be able to notice moments is really a true blessing. And to be able to notice other people's moments raises that blessing up even more. And Scott, getting to know you and getting to know your family has been a blessing all on its own. To be able to see the dedication that you have to each other, the dedication that you have to community, to ensuring a strong foundation for generations and for the people around you, it has been a blessing for me. And to be able to celebrate this moment, to be able to celebrate you, is something that we should probably do more often. And I want to thank you for bringing your birthday into Shabbat and helping us to raise this moment up. We are blessed because we get to share in your blessings. And thank you and mazel tov. And I'm going to say, don't run away, but we're going to go towards Bart over there. So we're going to go this way so that we can keep celebrating birthdays. If you'd like to join us, it's up to you. We get to celebrate even more things together. And I was thinking, wait, you're running away. We're going to celebrate all together. And I was thinking about last year, or a little bit more than a year ago, we got to celebrate Thanksgiving together. And we got to enjoy a Thanksgiving service together. And thinking about how much that is a part of who you are. Finding ways to go out into the world and to find reasons to be thankful. or finding ways to enhance gratitude when sometimes it's a little hard to find. It's a blessing that you have been able to share with everyone around you, that you have been able to help all of us grow and to make this moment into a moment that's worthy of gratitude. We are blessed because we get to share in this blessing as well. And on this birthday, and I'm not going to do the math because mental math is not my strength, but on this shared birthday celebration, we get to celebrate with both of you, and we get to find joy and commitment to each other, because it's really in these moments that we get to lift up, that we get to find moments of gratitude, that we become the strongest version of our community. And so, Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov, thank you and thank you for helping to make this Shabbat an even better Shabbat, because we get to celebrate with the both of you. And of course, it wouldn't be a birthday without a Shechianu blessing. So we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh amen. Please, reinforcements. Kay, let's celebrate you too. Excellent. Would you like to bless Kay? Just a young kid, just, you know, a little rascal, if you would. So, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Happy birthday, happy Shabbat.
Happy Shabbat.
Thank you. It is a bonus. Every blessing is a bonus. Now you can run away, Scott. Thank you. My microphone wasn't on this whole time. Okay. Well, we welcome Shabbat into our lives. We welcome Shabbat into this space, into this brightness and joy. And we call to Shabbat. We say, Lecha Dodi, come, my beloved. And we turn together to page 20 or page 138. We will do verses 1, 2, and on 9, we will rise to greet the Shabbat bride. Dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmianu Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shemo tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha Dodi Likra Kala Yadadai 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Boi V'Shalom Ateret Bala Gam Besimcha Uvitzohola Toch Emunei Am Segula Boi Chala Lecha Dodi Likra Kala Yadadai 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha Dodi Likra Kala Yadadai 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. We continue on our screens with a prayer by John Rill. Hope is the antidote to despair. We read responsively. Hope is the antidote to despair. Hope is shedding tears of grief and pain, and then getting on with the hard business of tikkun olam as God's partners in its repair. Hope is the knowledge that the world does not have to be as it is, but as we wish it to be. If we work to make it so, the whole world is a very narrow bridge, the rabbis say. Hope is the courage to keep walking on the bridge with our eyes and hearts fixed on what could be on the other side. Hope is our voices singing and praying together. Hope is the smile and the kind word and the selfless gesture. Hope is the knowledge that we can never complete the work and that the world can be a better place if we work to make it so. May we embrace hope as this new year unfolds with its limitless possibilities. We embrace hope, we embrace possibility, we embrace the joy of our voices joined together in answering the call to worship. Baruch Hu, page 28 or 146. Please rise as you are able. Radical hope. We continue responsively on the screens. Source of wonder, you call to us to make these times with radical hope. With patience, perhaps, I ask, convinced you had misspoken. Hadn't you noticed the monotony that has come over us? Radical hope, you repeated. With courage, because there's so much suffering everywhere. Courage must be what you are asking us. Radical hope, you said once again. I pause. Holy One, hope is so scarce these days of sleepless nights, of separation and distance. You speak to me tenderly. And I remember, God, that I have known it, the radical and relentless hope that has brought us forth before, that makes us choose and love life. Grant us, God, the wisdom to make these difficult times with life-affirming and life-giving radical hope. We turn to page 34 for our statement of faith and hope. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'Elohechem ani asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem le'Elohim. Blessed are you who see it all now, the terrible, beautiful truth that our world, our lives seem irreparably broken, and you can't unsee it. The hungry kid, the exhausted mom, the woman who wonders if any of this is worth it, the loneliness and despair. Blessed are you who glimpse reality and don't turn away. This kind of seeing comes at a steep cost, and it's a cost you may not have paid intentionally, but here you are, seeing things clearly. Blessed are you who have worked hard to keep your heart soft, you who live with courage, fixing what it is in your reach, praying about what is not, and loving still. May you experience deeper capacity and glimpses of hope as you continue to see the world as it is, terrible, beautiful, and fragile, and may it be so. Our Song of Freedom is exactly that kind of hope, a song that knows what was and what could be, what is and still dares to have extreme and unrelenting hope. We turn to our song of freedom, our song as we cross through the narrow places into the wider possibility. Page 40 or 158. Ze'eli anu ve'amaru, Ze'eli anu ve'amaru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yadai, 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 a hashkivenu for hope. Help us to lie, excuse me. Whew. Help us to lie down at night in comfort, safety, and peace. May the dreams of our children be sweet tonight and tomorrow and the day after. May the future be bright for them and for their children and the generations to come. Grant us the ability to rest after long days of work and worry. Give us the chance to let our souls be at peace, and give us the grace to know how to separate from the things we cannot control. Allow us to quiet our bodies and our minds as we drift away from the mundane and enter into a sacred dreamscape. Spread over us the shelter of your comforting presence. Help us to know that it's okay to let go, to breathe, to be, just to be. Journey with us into our sublime subconsciousness, and let us live in this liminal space of neither here nor there. For when we are with you, we are never truly alone. Guide us, watch over us, protect us. Allow us to rise in the morning with the fragrance of a new dawn, a chance to hope, to create ourselves anew, again and again and again. We are always surrounded by that possibility of creating ourselves anew, of creating the world around us anew. We ourselves are possibility. And as we turn to our tefillah, the center part of our service, called the prayer, we know that prayer is in every way something that requires possibility and requires hope. Otherwise, we wouldn't pray. And so we turn together to page 46. Please rise as you are able. Adonai Svatai Tifta Adonai Svatai Tifta Ofi Agin Tehilatecha Yagin Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Velohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Velohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasantim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vizocher Haste Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Ruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atarav Lehoshia Mashiv haruach, umorid hagashem, mechakel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim, verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, kayem emunato lishenei afar. Hamocha ba'al gevurot, umito melach, melech memit mechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata, l'chachayot hakol, Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. We take these next few moments for our own personal prayers in this time of silent reflection. Please be seated. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim. With Shalom Rav, we ask for God to place this peace, a great sense of wholeness and contentment upon us and upon all of Israel, all that we have in our community. And yet we know that there are those who are always praying, begging for peace for themselves, for those who live in their homes, those who live in their country. We need that sense of peace. And so we have a prayer for Israel, for those who live within its borders, those who live on the land of Israel, and those who, God willing, are home soon, in this prayer for peace for all those who live and consider themselves to be a part of Israel. We read responsively, Eloheinu v'Elohei imotenu v'avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the state of Israel and for all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who depend on the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your path so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening. Matir Asurim, freer of the captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes, without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Ba'al Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and heartache of the Jewish people, while also holding the humanity and dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us your shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. And as we look to the borders of our own country, we know that there are those whose lives have been tarnished by wildfires, whose homes, whose lives have been disrupted, and we extend our prayers to them. God, our rock and our comfort, hear our prayer. Our hearts break for all those who have lost their homes in this deadly blaze. The victims are in shock. Life as they knew it, all their treasured possessions, beloved heirlooms, touchstones for so many cherished memories, were swept away in an instant. Their sense of place and home, their safety and stability have been shaken. Help us, God, to anchor them, to shelter, support, and steady them with love. As the numbness wears off, the enormity of the loss sets in, and the work before them begins. Be with them, God. Be their strength and their comfort. Shield them from despair. Let them know you are near. Fill them with courage they will need to begin again. Bless the firefighters and first responders, God, and watch over them as they put their own lives at risk to protect our beloved city. Work through us, God. Transform our helplessness into action. Inspire us with determination and the perseverance we will need to bring devastated neighborhoods back to life. Fill us all with the vision of the new days that lie ahead, a dream of our city restored. Let Jeremiah's prophecy of hope enter every heart and soul. The city shall be rebuilt upon its ruins. So may it be. And together we say, Amen. And our hearts turn even closer to those in our community, those in our lives that could use a little extra blessing themselves, whether it's a blessing for body, a blessing for spirit, or a blessing of soul. And so I invite you, if you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, to write the name of someone whom you are thinking of into the comment section. And if you're joining us here in our physical chapel, to rise as you are able and to say the name of someone whom you are thinking of aloud. Thank you. 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 And as a community, we're also thinking of Mike Byrne, Alan Terry Burke, Dee Bittman, Ron Cohen, Grace Consinaldi, Sarara Kova, Tina Crane, Nella Davis, Arlene Drucker, Lila and Aaron Eckel, Randy Epstein, Arnie Fishbane, Lee Huber, Jim Clapman, Joyce Landau, Mark Pierce, Brian Rupberg, Ronald Rubin, Bill Salerno, Jocelyn Snower, Patricia Weinfuss, Mark Weiss, Sam Weiss, George Wittenberg, and Franklin Wolf. Our Misha Barach prayer can be found on page 253 in the middle of the page. Misha Barach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Barach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. In case you haven't already figured it out, what's on the top of my mind, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of hope. Maybe you heard a couple of those keywords happening during our readings, but I've been thinking about it in a couple different contexts. When the announcement about the ceasefire came out, I was texting with our executive director, Danny Glassman, who was at a session about how to partner, how Jewish institutions and non-Jewish institutions can partner in support of fighting anti-Semitism. And I was here and we were texting and he said, the news came out and tears came to people's eyes. And I was thinking about that moment that someone who's waited for more than 450 days, what it was like for them in that space, fighting that fight to hear about a ceasefire and a release of hostage agreement. And I'm not surprised that people started to cry. That there's been something in each of us holding on to hope despite all evidence to the contrary. That there's been something that's been a part of us that's seen destruction and felt pain and felt loneliness and despair and still managed to hold on to hope that this agreement would happen. And even now, as the cabinet in Israel is slowly moving it through the different branches and levels of government, we still have hope that on Sunday it will go into effect. That hope isn't realized until we know that all those hostages are home and that a war can finally stop. So I've been thinking about hope in that context. I've been thinking about hope in the context of We're starting a new book of Torah this week, and there's quite a time jump between the end of Exodus and the end of Genesis and the beginning of Exodus. We go from Joseph and his brothers living in Egypt in comfort and in safety, and practically in the next breath, there arose in Egypt a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph and began enslaving the Israelites. 400 years that just aren't mentioned of slavery. And I imagine what it took for those Israelites to maintain identity, maintain community, maintain an idea of God will one day hear our prayers and fulfill the promise that God made to our ancestors, that we will be redeemed from this desolation and brought into the promised land. I've also been thinking about hope in the context of getting ready to take 5 of our teens to Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks, to teach them how to lobby our elected representatives and their staff from a place of Jewish values. And it's a whirlwind trip. It's 4 days. We land at 3 o'clock on Friday, and we're in the air again by 6 o'clock on Monday. And in that time, they learn about politics and power. They learn about the Jewish stance to the things that they are passionate about. We get to do some tourism. We go to museums. And on Saturday afternoon, I'll take them to the Martin Luther King Memorial. And we'll spend about an hour looking at the quotes and looking at the statue. And I have them do a little bit of reflection. What was it about these quotes that the creators of this memorial, of this monument, chose? What were they trying to convey about Martin Luther King? And on the side, I don't know if anyone's ever been to this monument. It's a very large white marble monument with quotes of his etched into 2 sides that is, I don't know, it must be at least a city block long. And there's a gap in the middle of the white stone, and about 150 feet forward, it's almost as if someone took that gap from the rock, picked it up, moved it forward, and carved Martin Luther King coming out of the stone. And on the side of it is one of his quotes: "Out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope," from the I Have a Dream speech. Thinking about all of these different things, all at the same time, has really gotten my mind in a jumble, because there's so many different feelings that come with each one. When we're talking about the war between Israel and Hamas, I feel a sense of heaviness and a sense of feeling very, very small. When we talk about the redemption from slavery in Egypt, I have the sense of fortune and luck and fate that comes with that. And when I think about the Martin Luther King Memorial, I think about what it means to be that stone that's planted in the face of so much and be remembered for being authentic to yourself, because who that is a beacon of hope. It is hard to have hope. It comes with so many different influences and so many different reasons that we might feel it or lack hope. But I think that there's something about Judaism that requires hope. There's something about what we do in spaces like this, what we do when we gather for holidays or for classes or for celebrations or for mourning, that requires hope, because we know that there's so much around us that is going to inspire that hope. There's so many people around us that's going to inspire hope. There's so much within us that inspires hope. And I think Judaism looks at all of those different pieces of someone's life and says, notice that. Even when you feel like you're walking on the narrow bridge, hold those parts of yourself close. Hold those parts of the world close, because without it, you're never going to get to the other side. And there's been a lot of moments that I felt it's hard to find my own hope, right? I've told you, sometimes I feel this weight that makes me have to fight against it to find hope. But I've been thinking about what I do in those moments instead. Whether it's I'm quiet, or whether I cry, or whether I try to distract myself. I think in those moments when I feel like I'm not communicating hope, if I were to be honest with myself, those are hopeful moments too. Why cry if there's no possibility of change? We cry because we have this hope for a possible different tomorrow. Why be quiet if it's not about finding that the small silent voice within us that sometimes is too hard to hear when so much else is going on around us? Why re-engage with the world when the world isn't where we're supposed to be anyway? So there's something about Judaism, there's something about those acts of despair that are indeed acts of hope as well. And having all of these things happening all at once, whether they're moments of joy or moments of pain, all of them are moments of hope, because we get to be reminded of just how strong we need to be in order to rebuild our hope for ourselves and rebuild that hope for those around us, the hope for those around us. And, excuse me, I wanted to bring us to one more quote that is on the edge of the Martin Luther King monument. And it comes from a speech that became a book, Strength to Love, from the same year as his I Have a Dream speech. He says, "The measure of a man is not in where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but in where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." I think in his example, that is exactly where we are called to stand. We are called to be the ones who come out of a mountain of despair and are as strong as a stone of hope. We are the ones who are meant to withstand the storm and to find our way back into the path, that path of goodness, the path of possibility. When we talk about the Exodus story, one of the other interpretations for Egypt in the Hebrew name for it, Mitzrayim, is these narrow places. A tsar is a narrow place. And that when they crossed the Sea of Reeds, they entered into this wilderness, into this wide expanse of possibility. And I think about that picture right next to the picture of the monument of Martin Luther King coming out of the stone and looking across the basin into the Jefferson Memorial. It takes a lot to have hope for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, for a whole lifetime. It takes an immense amount of strength. And if any day that you feel that you are lacking that strength, I think all you have to do is look around you, because there's always someone who's able and willing to lend you their hope, to re-inspire your hope, to connect your hope with theirs, and to give it a little bit of a jump start. And so on this Shabbat, where we are both celebrating and mourning, where we celebrate the potential end to a war and mourn how long it took to get to this place, where we celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr. and we mourn that his work is still not yet done, where we celebrate an exodus from Egypt and we mourn that an exodus had to happen at all. We stand at the crossroads of hope, and we get to be the people who bring into this Shabbat and into every day after it until the next Shabbat and the next Shabbat, hope that is everlasting, because that's what it means to be Jewish, is to never end in our sense of hope. May that be the blessing that we give to each other. May that be the blessing that is given to us as we walk through this world. And together we say, Amen. Judaism also tells us that it's not just a fluke that we have hope, that we have this responsibility towards each other, that it is inherent in who it is, in what it means to be a Jewish person, in what it means to be a human being, that we have a responsibility to each other, to God, to the whole world, to raise up hope and to help create days and years and lives of goodness. Judaism says, Aleinu l'shabeach. It is upon each and every one of us to praise the Creator of all blessing. Page 282 at the bottom. Please rise as you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teikenu l'yotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot v'lo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. At this moment in our service, we think of those who are no longer physically present in our everyday lives, but forever remain a part of our hearts, our minds, and our souls, whose legacy and whose hope we continue to live with every single day. If you are joining us in our digital sanctuary, whether you're in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, whether you're marking a yahrzeit or someone just happens to be called to mind at this moment, I invite you to write the name of the person whom you are remembering aloud in the comment section. And as a community, we mark the recent passings of Kevin Heaps and Bill Brown. And we mark the yahrzeits of Natalie K. Aaron, Frances Angris, Esther Breen, Anna Kolkler, Jane Cohen, Morris Cohen, Peter Davis, Janice Dolnick, Babs Fell, Barbara Bonnie Fine, Richard Foreman, Irving Hirschfield, Herbert Horn Sr., Jason Hoops, Julia Hoops, Milton Hoops, Sarah Eicher, Ben Kaplan, Ben Karzan, Rhoda Kozerin, Arthur Cowett, Anna Crom, Mary Ellen Kronstein, Marilyn Schiffman Lasky, Lorraine B. Lerman, Richard Levin, Joel Levine, June Lieberman, May Marcus, Edith Mayer, Jean Mandel, Michael Mitchell, Kenneth Newman, Della Pincus, Mary Raub, Pamela Robert, Marshall S. Salkin, Howard Chevron, Miriam Shinsky, Morris Sutton, Louis Weinberg, Carol Given Winston, and Bernice Zimmerman. And I invite those who are remembering people to rise and to say names aloud as well. Edie? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Together as one family, we turn to our Kadisha Tome, our Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294. Please rise as you are able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hiroteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'vyomechon, u'v'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'yizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitzhadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shmei kudsha b'rechu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zikronam levracha, may their memories forever be a blessing. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated.
On behalf of the Board of Directors, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for joining us this evening. Mazel Tov to Scott and Bart on your birthdays as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have many great activities here at Temple Jeremiah. One is the Anu Museum of the Jewish People exhibit, October 7th, examining how Israeli culture reacts to the war, which will be on display starting Sunday and go through the 26th. The exhibition curates works by Israeli artists whose creative activity reflects the unimaginable hardships Israeli society is facing since October 7th. Again, it will be on display starting Sunday, going through the 26th. And next weekend, Shalom Orzach will be here all weekend and teaching Torah study as well. For details on this and any other events, please see our website. And once again, Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. We conclude our service the same way we began. Hinei matov u'manayim, how good and how wonderful it is that we gather together to celebrate, to find support, to find courage, and most importantly, to find love. Page 10? Page 10. Please rise for our closing song and blessing. Hinei Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors bless us on this Shabbat as we gather together to find goodness and joy. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless us as we gather together to find strength and courage. May the one who blessed our ancestors continue that blessing for us, for all we love, for every person on this planet. And together we say, Amen and Shabbat Shalom.